It's interesting that the religious experience can take us in two directions that are consistently argued through most religious traditions. Either they take you into an inward search for the holy, and I'm pure and I've read all the books and I get it. But also, in another experience, to the mysterium tremendum, if you like, the experience of oneness with God and oneness with the universe.
Yes.
It seems that Fethullah Gulen goes through that process himself, and that becomes a very, very significant marker for the way he proceeds onwards. And Rumi speaks of this experience.
Exactly.
So it's there in Rumi, but it takes him... I just want to talk about that for us a little bit, about that.
So there too, Rumi is a die-in-the-wool Muslim. He's a mystic. He wants to be filled with God. But the thing about filling oneself with God is, in order to do that, you have to empty yourself of self. And if I empty myself of self, I might find that the idea that my form of faith is the only true acceptable form of faith is my ego speaking, my self speaking, and not God speaking. So Rumi manages both to be a dyed-in-the-wool Muslim and a universalist, as does Ibn Arabi, as does Abraham Abulafia, as do any number of mystics. And that's part of the cloth from which Gulen also eventually comes to be cut.
And this comes out of the Sufi tradition in particular, which is a sort of evangelical, in a way, experiential dimension of Islam.
Oh, absolutely experiential. In fact, Rumi himself starts out as a master of Islamic law, right? He's a master of Sharia. And one day someone walks into his classroom and asks him a question that completely throws him a curveball about who had grasped God more fully, and he refers to a particular Sufi or the Prophet Muhammad himself. And the thing is, well, it couldn't be any more than the Prophet Muhammad, except this Sufi had come out of his condition of ecstasis, and he was so filled with God that he was yelling, Ana al-Haq, Ana al-Haq. I am truth, which is one of the 99 names of God. So Rumi was just, and it completely redirected his life from the very intellectual and intellectually successful life as a student and teacher he had been leading of jurisprudence away in the direction of something more experiential, something deeper, and for him, very physical. So apparently, he would be jumping around when he was teaching, and the eventuality of that, of course, is that his followers become known as the whirling dervishes.